Welcome back to Angels and Bob's Factorio, and it's time to solve the bronze problem. I did get a comment from a guy called Denol, who was saying, why don't we buffer the copper ingots instead of plates, and then we can combine them. So if we have a look at the bronze problem, if we make this from molten bronze, which is the only way to make it in Angels and Bob's, you make that with copper and tin, and there's a few recipes, but you need 3 to 1 essentially, and that gives us 240 molten bronze. The other couple of recipes, it looks a little weird at first because you're using 6 tin, and to go up by 50% you go to 12 tin, so that's double the amount of tin and some nickel or some zinc. But the thing you save there is you don't have to spend any more copper. The copper remains constant, so you sacrifice other metals instead. Not sure how close to real life that is. Probably just different alloys. But in our case, because we've got this technology, we'll go with the base metal, and that will be 18 copper ingots and 6 tin ingots. So what I was just wondering is if, without rearranging this, if we could just sort of sneak... yeah, I'm not sure whether we can do this. Maybe. So if I just take these up for a second, and what I just want to do is create a prioritized system whereby we'll prioritize feeding into these, but if these are full, then we'll feed them elsewhere. And I could do that by moving this out. I can move it over here somewhere or something along those lines. But just to demonstrate the splitter mechanics that are new to this version, so let's say we input onto this line, and we might input there as well, I guess. So if we put these like this, and I'm probably going to need another power cable. Okay, and we have, again, yet another one there. They're going onto the wrong side, so what we can do, and this is something I didn't know about until another commenter mentioned, I should be able to specify which side of the belt it actually puts this onto. That is a good point, however, and it would be nice to know exactly how to do that. Oh, there we go. Offset. Yeah, that was simple enough. You specify where you want it, I assume, and that's just fine. So we can get both sides of this belt filled. What we then have to do is create some kind of prioritized system. So if we go through this for a second, you'll see we can now, if I click on it, we can choose an input priority or an output priority. We don't need to worry about the input, don't worry about that. However, the output, we want to say what we want to prioritize, left or right. In our case, I guess we're going to go... This is going to be a bit compact and horrid, but let's prioritize left. And if I then... whoops, I need to specify it. So click on here. There we go. So if I press Alt, you'll see it's prioritizing left, which means this output is the one that we want to send to our 2 machines here. Okay, so let me just grab a U for a second. Oh, it won't let me because my inventory is full. Do I have any boxes? Let me just let me just get rid of some of the stuff. Hang on 1 second. There we go. Just dump stuff on the ground, to the ground over there. That's horrid. I'll clean it up later. So yeah, I've just put this non-prioritized belt over here. So this is our output that we're going to make into bronze. We don't really care about this one too much, but we do care about this one. So we're going to then want to go back on ourselves with another splitter. And that we should be able to do, hopefully, if I go this way. And then go that way. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. May have to go underground, but that's okay. And then we can grab a fast inserter, or a few fast inserters. And we should be able to, say, do this and then this. We're not going to, however, just leave them like that because they'll be pulling from this by default. So what we need to do is just tell them they need to get them from elsewhere. So we need to grab from here, and we're going to go 90 degrees. And you'll see it's just passing in everything it can. Now, it can do that faster than this machine can work. So if you need any even more than that, then we're going to have to sort some other kind of system out. But this is more than enough for this setup, at least. And we just need to remember to do the same thing here. So we need to pick up from the right and output to the bottom. Yeah, it's full at the moment, so it can't do anything. Also, another commenter did mention with these, the ability to set these inserters to different locations, it's much more efficient, because they're faster at it, to just go 90 degrees rather than extending outwards like this would do if I had... I'm still using long-handed inserters just because I don't need the speed. But if I were, for instance, to replace these all with yellow, but just specify these, then they'd be slower, obviously, because the turning circle is slower than something that's just reaching out one. So very often with these setups, if you can make it so that they only do 90 degrees, as an alternative to reaching over another belt, do so. So here, I know this looks a bit complicated, but again, this one is not prioritized. We want an equal split top and bottom. This one is, so it will prioritize this line and this line. And if there's any more, it will send it out this way. So we've got a supply here of copper ingots, and it's unconstrained by, well, not unconstrained. We don't need to be worried about starving the resources from the rest of our copper line. Not that it's going much anywhere at the moment. Now what we also have to do is get tin. Now our tin's coming from Bogmonium all the way down here. And it's a terrible setup that I created very early on because we just really didn't need a lot of tin. I mean, you can see now, even with this horrid setup, there's just tin backing up everywhere. We're not using enough of it for it to matter. However, it is one of these jumbled setups where it really doesn't matter that much. You know, they are feeding in tin. We do have glass down here, and, you know, it sort of fills everything up and it will back up and it looks horrible. So we are going to want to switch over to a better setup, and we can do that already. I just didn't bother previously by just separating these lines out. This one, obviously, is going to produce tin, and we can do something as simple as just putting it into a furnace. Again, we don't need one of the huge setups because this tin is just going to form a third of the copper we're going to need to make bronze, and that will turn into science packs. It might end up starving this, we'll see. But I'm going to do that off camera because you've seen those setups before. You don't need to see it again. Well, I hope you don't. So for now, I didn't alter this sort of primitive setup. I didn't go with a full setup. All I really pulled out here was all these buffer boxes. I'm just going to pull out the tin out of them. And the same thing off the end of the belt. If it ever actually piles up, we'll just merge everything back together into a single tin line, and we're going to put it through a blast furnace. And from the blast furnace, we're going to get ingots. Now, we're going to need 3 times as much copper as we've got coming out of here. So we'll see, you know, what happens with this belt speed once we get everything sorted out. So we're going to need the casting machines. So let's put those on the toolbar, and we're going to need the induction furnace. Do I have an induction furnace? I thought I created one. Induction. It's already on my hotbar at the bottom of the screen. So if we grab you, it's obviously quite a large. We can put it here, and then we can put our 3 casting machines just like normal. We want them both facing upwards, I think. Okay. And then we can just put in our pipework. More pipe to ground? Oh, not pipe to ground. Just regular stone pipe will do. There we go. Is there anything else? Just some inserters, I think, and some power poles. So let's just make sure you're all powered. And let's just make sure you can insert, shall we? Select a recipe. We want bronze, and then we also want to cast bronze. Okay, and then we can take that this way. And of course, as normal, we just need some power poles and some inserters, and we should be able to do the job like that. Think you're done? Are we going to get bronze plate? Looks like we are. Yeah, there we go, bronze plate. Okay, so we've got bronze plate coming out right here. Let's zoom all the way out. We've got our circuits sort of somewhere up here, and I probably need to get more power going. They look to be using up quite a bit, and I probably should switch to proper steam rather than coal burning, but or even carbon burning, depending on which ones I have it switched to at the moment. So we're going to need to get these electronic circuits, the tier 3s, from right about here. Now you can probably see on my cursor. I need to come all the way over here. So we need to look back at science packs again. So we've made this, we've made batteries, we've made bronze plate, we just need engine units. So let's make those locally to the copper and the iron lines. So we need steel plate, iron gear wheels, iron pipes, and motors. They all sound familiar except for iron pipe, which we've not made automatically, but it's just iron plate. So there really is nothing going on there. Produces one engine unit every 10 seconds. And for that, we're going to need to feed in a single motor, but 2 iron pipe, 2 iron gear wheel, and 2 steel plate. You know just how many gear wheels that we produce, so that's not a problem. But steel plate, well, no, once every 5 seconds. One plate every 5 seconds isn't all that large. So yeah, let me set that up. And again, because it's so similar to these, there shouldn't be much of a problem. In fact, we're going to do exactly these two. That's one thing sorted. We've got the gear wheels and the motors there. So the only thing we'll need is the pipe, which is just from this again. So we can just make a third one of these and then pass all 3 of these plus some steel plate into a 4th machine like this. So if we make, let's say, some assembly machines, let's make 4 of them. And let's look at what we need to feed into them. So this one, the only thing it needs for these 2 is iron. So should be able to do the same thing. And because we're going to be feeding in onto this side of this belt to bring blue science this way, we can probably just build down here just fine and put a splitter in place or 2 and feed off a pipeline here. We could drag off this one. I just would rather see these separately. I just want like lots of separate layers. It's just one of the things I like to do on this pitiful main bus. Okay, so here we go. We've got our steel, or our iron coming off here. And we're going to go underground. So we can start a new line here. And that should be enough once we remove all the trees to get us started with assembly machines. Probably a little bit close to these actually, which is where my batteries are coming in and where my bronze plate and circuits are coming in. So I guess I could put them on this side. If I need more production, we can always do that. And of course, this will bring steel past as well. So, that is a good point. I can just grab the steel from here and then route things back around. Okay, let's give that a try. So what did we actually need? We needed engine units, didn't we? So we want iron gear wheels, iron pipe, and motors. Okay, so we want the outside being... does the motors need the gear wheels? It does. Okay, so let's put the pipe in the this end. Doesn't really much matter, I don't think. So let's just put that there. And then we want gears. And in the middle we want motors. Alright, and then we can just continue across here with some iron. Let's just place some power poles, shall we? And then, do I have enough room here? Ooh, that's not good. That's where I wanted everything to go. I guess we could just hack it into place. This is becoming like a sort of ongoing thing that I end up doing. Let's just put it there to there. And then we can put you in place. That seems fine, and we should be able to grab stuff for this, so let's just put that in place here or something, just to cover the whole area. What did we want in this? What was it again? This is just the engine unit, so that's fine. Engine. There we go. I'll probably have to move everything down just to satisfy my own sense of everything being built correctly, but I should be able to grab it from there. And you'll put that in, which is fine. And then we need to grab these. We can direct insert with this one. And we can do something similar with this side and this side. Once I move that power pole. And then I just need to feed in, I think. Is that enough? I may need to speed it up, that much is for certain. But yeah, and that's one too far away. So let's just change you to say, grab a little from a little bit further, please. There we go. That's going to be far, far too slow, isn't it? Yeah. I'll fix that later, though, off camera. There's no need to do anything like that. Why are you stuck? Oh, I need to put an inserter right here. And then everything should work. It should be making engine units, which we can just feed, I guess, just temporarily this way. And grab that. And let's knock down these trees. There's our first engine unit. Our batteries are here, so we can feed them both onto the same line. And sorry for the dog barking in the background. It's not mine. Almost wish it was. I miss having a dog. There we go. And then we can have our second line here. Like that. To tidy things up a little bit. And then we can, of course, put our factories around our assembly machines for Blue Science, I think. Do I just need another assembly machine? Ooh, we can make electronic assembly machine 2s now. Good, good. So the Blue Science tends to need a lot more than red and green, but because we're not really doing a huge amount of research, unlike the base game. Why am I doing this? I can just... Yeah. Bots are really handy. Unfortunately, I don't have much inventory space. So, yeah, there we go. There's our first assembly machine. In base game, I normally have like 5 red, 6 green, and then 10 or 12 blues. In this, I'm going to just start off and just see exactly what I need. I'm not going to worry too much about the exact details of it because, again, we're not using that much research at the moment. It's not like we need to rush for this. Okay, and then let's just grab both of you. We need to place you as being going one further. There we go. Okay, and there goes our first Blue Science pack. And that can just be fed out and into this line here. What I probably will have to do if I'm going to get 12 of those is 6 on either side. And then we'll run, we'll run them this way. You know, 6 above, 6 below. And then run them so that all arrives around about here. Okay, let's get rid of that tree, hopefully. And our first Blue Science should be ready to go. Our first couple of packs are there on the belt. So we can then research, obviously, a huge amount more stuff once we got blue. And a lot of it we haven't actually got to yet, because a lot of it is rest of the tree. So there's things like armoured railways and second level of batteries, and more assembly machines, and the blue assembly machines. Yeah, lots and lots of stuff to go. And it's only when we get much further down, yeah, we've got to get all the way down through research to Advanced Chemistry 4 before we get to the high-tech science packs, which, as you can see, once you get down to fusion reactors, you need all 6 of the packs. You need the production science pack, which is the purple one, and then high-tech science pack. So those are the last 2, and they're going to require... Oh, that's 6,000 of them! Yeah, episode 128, maybe? I don't know. I'm going to have to speed things up, aren't I? But of course, we need to get to bots before that. Let's just have a look at how far we are towards bots, because we've got Blue Science. It's great for the episode. Let's look at bots, shall we? Bot. So, 2 types, logistics bot and, in fact, more than 2 types. I think those are just combat robots. What we're actually interested in is the construction robot and the logistics robot. Assembly, I don't think that's part of the base game. Interesting. Is that super upgrade? That's space assembly. So this is definitely not a base game thing or even an Angels and Bobs thing. This is the SpaceX expansion, I think. Although that does appear to be a picture of something that looks vaguely Star Trek-y. So yeah, let's just go back and assume we're not going to get to those for some time. Yeah, because does it tell me what I need to get to space assembly? This should be amusing. Space assembly. Space assembly, it needs 3,000. Only 3,000. It's yeah. And then space construction, 6,000. And then yes. Let's not go near that. Okay, so back to the basic robots. We want construction robots and logistics robots. And to start with, I don't want to control or limit their output to, you know, keep it to a certain level. I normally do that in the base game to say, just keep so many robots in the system and build until you hit that level. You can do that with the various circuitry that we can build. But in our case, we're just going to be building a lot of them. And we're going to need both types. So construction robots are going to be handy. So we need flying robot frames, construction robot brains, and construction robot tools. All sounds weird. This one needs flying robot frame and then logistics. So the flying robot frames are going to be used for both. And then there's a brain and a tool for each kind. Okay, so let's look at the flying robot frame. Unsurprisingly, it's stuff that we've already built. Or in the case of electric engine units, we're nearly there. That just needs an engine unit and a couple of other bits and pieces. Lubricant we've not got to yet, but we can just pull that straight out of oil, I think. Out of crude oil, which we're tanking up at the moment in a group of 4 tanks, which reminds me, I did also build one of these, or a couple of these. I'm not sure if I showed them in the episode, but they're Angels Mods tanks, and they are much, much bigger than the normal tanks for a very similar amount of room. So the normal tanks are 25k storage volume. The Angel ones, at least are these ones, are 350k volt. So they're more than 10 times the size. I don't know, maybe 13, 14 times the size. And occupy much the same space, except it takes a bit of steel to make them, so you can't make them at the start of the game. There are also petrochem oil tanks, but they still store nowhere near the chemical refining tanks. So whether these can store all liquids or not, I don't know, but it certainly seems helpful when we're tanking up things like crude oil. So I think crude oil actually went into one of those. I built 2 of them. Okay, so back to the components here. So we need to head towards this flying robot frame. We've got batteries, we've got basic electronic boards, we've got steel plates. This should be easy to make. We've got all these other bits and pieces, lubricant. Let's just double check that recipe. We've got residual gas, and I'm not sure if we've got base mineral oil, but we've certainly got crude oil, so we can extract that and then get lubricant from that. Is there any other recipes? Naphtha, don't have any of that. Algae biomass, don't have any of that yet. Do we have any way to get to that? That is ash, water, compressed air. Yeah, let's just leave that alone. So we need to get flying robot frames. That doesn't look terribly hard, just a bit of infrastructure. What about the brains? The brains are a circuit board. See, this seems familiar, all these things that we've just been making. Circuit board, basic electronic components, transistors. We can definitely do that easily. Robot tools. Steel plate, steer gear wheel, extremely easy. So we can make this locally on site on this line over here, and we can ship the brains, because all of these are made in the same area, all the way over from the other side. So we can combine all this into a single brain and ship it over. And if we just look at the logistics robot again, logistics robot brain, again, very much the same ingredients. So we can probably put one line with half a belt with logistics, half a belt with construction. And then the tools we can make over here. Again, we probably have to divide everything up and reform it. The other thing left then is the flying robot frame. So let's go over to the side and see what we can do about building a few of these in this episode, and probably completing up next episode. So what will hardly be a surprise for you guys now, we don't have a great amount of room to maneuver. However, we do have these 2 lines right here that already let us do all of this. So if I just for a second just come in here and just move this across. Like that. Oops, that needs to go that way. That'll get us a bit more room. And then we can use these exact same lines without modification, because we only need 3 of these ingredients. We can ignore the solder for the most part, and we can put in an extra machine. We can do this. Where am I merging everything back together? I'm merging it over there with a bronze plate. I'm using the same belt for both. So we may well want a second belt or some way of separating things back before we get to the bronze plate again. We could run it on this side of the belt, but then we're going to have 2 different products. So let's just do it properly. Properly is relative in my particular case. So let's just put in some assembly machines, a couple of. And we can put one either side because they're using the same ingredients. The only difference between the 2 brains, the construction and the logistic, is the ratio of electronic components to transistors. One's like 8 and 3, the other one's 6 and 4. They both produce one circuit board. They take it once every 5 seconds. But I can't actually make these yet because I need logistics robots. I need to research that. Ooh, interesting. So what have we got for robots? Oh, we're going to need to go through a few things. So flying robot frame, that's 150 for a start. Let's look at robots. So construction robotics actually is not too bad. It's the next one up. It's 100. It needs flight and it needs robotics. Okay, so maybe I should leave until next episode then, because I'm going to take a while to actually research this. Not too long, but as you can see, that's quite slow. So I will put down the infrastructure, and of course you can see me complete that next episode. It won't be terribly hard. Oops, it won't be terribly hard. Let's just go there and like that, and then we can just output them both. Ooh, I run out of belt as well. I have to go and get more of that, but in the meantime, yeah, we'll just merge them onto a single belt like this, and then we can then run that alongside this one. So we can go underneath here. There you go, and you get the idea. So all we need to do is just set these recipes up, which we can't at the moment, unfortunately. Robot. No recipe. Okay, so we got ready for the robot brains. The tools we can make all the way over there with just steel and nothing else. That leaves the flying robot frame. So let's look at the frame. Flying robot frame is electric engineering, its batteries, basic electronic boards and steel plate. So I'm going to need to do the electric engineering next episode. We should have the battery already over there. The basic electronic boards and steel plate we already have. So it's just the electric engineers and then transporting the basic electronic boards. Now I've been stockpiling them because I haven't really been using them, but as you can see, we've got quite a few. So all I need to do is then hook these up to another line I send over there as well, or something along those lines, and we'll have the frames. So we'll have everything we need for robotics. The only other thing you're going to need to start up on the bot network is, of course, the robot port, and I assume that comes with one of the robotics. Yeah, so construction robotics, we get the robot port itself. That's going to need the various different ingredients for that, so that's going to be another separate thing we need to make. But otherwise, no, it's looking pretty good. And once we get those, I probably will have to do... once we get enough of those, I should say, it will take a while to build them. We'll then start to erase belts, work backwards, convert them over to using bots, unless, we have a real need to do that. And that may well be in areas like, I don't know, the ingots for these. We might keep on a belt or something like that and have a really nicely laid out setup, rather than all these belts running everywhere, which we've got at the moment. And then, we'll decide on an ongoing basis. If you want to make any suggestions about what should be kept on belts, or what you think about belts in general, there has been a fairly heated debate with the developers who want to nerf bots, or have stated that they want to nerf bots, but everyone just shouted them down. because everyone loves bots, and they're going to find it very hard to buff belts to make them much better. So yeah, that may come in the future. For now, though, bots are pretty much superior. But it is nice to have belts in the base in some way. So maybe if you make your comments known, let me know what you'd like to see on a belt, particularly if you do angels and bobs. Otherwise, we'll be looking through for really nice setups with bots. Okay, hope you enjoyed this episode. Feel free to thumbs up and subscribe and share if you haven't. And of course, I'm more than willing to hear your comments, talk about them, and yeah, see if there's any way for me to do things better. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.